Hey everybody, welcome back to our Planet Coaster Let's Play series edition that we have got going on. This, once again, as normal, is taken from the Twitch live stream, which can be caught every weekend. Normally try to do it on Saturdays, but with the way some things are going, Little League and all that stuff, it's not always possible. Now, this was about a 3-hour live stream, just shy of it, that we have compressed down as little as possible without it being kind of motion sickening to see. But we do get a lot of stuff done in this episode. We still have a lot more to go in this area with the Falco coaster, so stay tuned for that, and definitely follow along at Twitch on Champ and Sons channel. During the weekend we will go live this weekend as normal. So you may be asking yourself, as the screen is blurring by, what did we get done in this episode today? We know we got the coaster built last time, so this is going to be kind of a plaza setting area for the Falco coaster. Now, what you're seeing be built right now is our pretty standard exit building. We each have screens for each one of the coaster cars, and just so you can stop off, purchase your photos there, and we continue to build the the exit building, souvenir shop, and so forth. Now, I do put in a restroom just to try to attract people in. It should get some peeps to come in, or maybe even to stay a little longer than normal once they exit the ride. But that's kind of the theory behind it, so that's why we do have it. We will be putting in some TMTK items in here as well. That kind of matches what you see in some of the other ones, like the Professor Chaos. And so forth from there. So they are going to be pretty similar, but overall, each ride generally has its own exit building, some bigger than others. This ride being more of a modern one, it is going to have a pretty decent size exit building. We'll have a couple rows of shelving for just basic souvenirs that you've seen kind of before, some of the Star Wars stuff, Planet Coaster game, some creepy looking stuffed animals, backpacks, the usual kind of stuff. We will also put in a floor and lighting into this ground section, and then we will start to work on a couple other parts of the coaster. One part that I'm pretty proud of with how it actually turned out is around the barrel roll section. You'll definitely see that. You probably won't get a live action view of it, so I do warn you going into it, there is going to be a lot of lights, not so much flashing, but it could be dizzying for you. If it is, just my apologies on that. So just keep that in mind as we go forward from here. That's all I'm saying. So now this is your basic building design, right? We don't go too extensive with it. I do kind of make space for some windows here, but it is just a basic exit building, right? So there's not going to be anything too much for it, at least on the outer design wise, as it stands right now. So just keep that in mind as we go through this build, as we look to get these shelves built up at this point. That's what we are working on here. And as usual, we put really tiny shelves and then finally wisen ourselves up and make it a little bit bigger to actually fit a couple different rows. Now, I have not gone through to place in the barriers to prevent people from walking into it, but we will get that done. Like I said, this whole section does not get done in this episode. This was 3 hours of live streaming, so what we got done was pretty dang impressive, if you ask me. But so we do still have probably one more episode to go, I figure. Maybe two. If anything, I'm going to try to keep it condensed down to one more episode. So we'll kind of leave it at that. And another little TMTK item that we do put in there is those postcards. I know that we've seen from previous that have those Bro Nation postcards and stuff on them that look really excellent being created. So we do have those in there as well. Now, I'm just looking at some of the different items, and I really wish some of those realistic animals were not animated like they are, because then we could put those in as like a little souvenir, because not gonna lie, they do look a little better than the actual stuffed animals that we have in there from the TMTK stuff as souvenirs. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. So we kind of just roll with it. The backpacks we are changing to kind of match the color of the rides. Keep it similar, keep it themed more or less together. So that was just the theory behind changing the color on some of these. We will get this done. We also get the queue cover. Now it's not going to be enclosed, right? It's just you got to have some spots out in the open. But being in Texas, almost every ride queue that we have, part is uncovered, but for the most part, it's going to be shaded. And so that's what we did here with these is we got them shaded and covered up for this one as well. I do definitely enjoy how this thing turned out, especially with some of the painstaking parts we did as far as the coaster, some of the more design with the coaster, but we'll get to that once we get there. And in fact, I'm probably going to go ahead and hop off for just a few minutes, let y'all kind of enjoy this exit building being put in and some of these souvenirs being strapped up and onto the shelves. And I will be back with y'all here in just a little bit, and I'll see y'all then. And I am back, everybody. How's it going? So as y'all see, we got that Q cover going in. Sticking with kind of the sharp design. It's not the most futuristic looking one, but it's also not the most old timey. It seems to have a modern feeling to me, at least modern enough, right? So now that we got that portion done and we got the exit building pretty much completed for the most part, what I wanted to do is this barrel roll, and I've had this image in my mind of, well, I wanted it to be kind of encased in a tube, and not so much a tube. I always wanted there to be the lights, kind of disorientating you a little bit as you come around to the final, but in a little enclosed section, something that, from the outside perspective, you see the train go into it, but you don't know what happens to it unless you're actually on the ride. And I started doing that with just the regular wall pieces, but quickly found out that, trying to take those off grid, there's very few pieces that you can actually do that with. And with what I'm trying to do here, the arc shapes are definitely going to be better. So what I wanted to do is get these arc shapes kind of matched up into a little tunnel purpose. Now you see me toying around with these sections, and what I am going to do is make sure how the coaster is paused right there, make sure that essentially it fits in every portion of it from top to bottom, side to side, because as we've all seen in previous builds, before I fix a mistake, there's a chance a rider may get their head chopped off, and I just don't want that to happen. So keeping that in mind, I did test it out at pretty much every stage of the barrel roll, that there is no collision with the track. So once I got that measured out, then came the fun of putting in the lights. And these turned out to be pretty trippy, especially at night, going through that. I did really like seeing how that turned out. At night, this works out incredibly well. It was kind of tedious getting all these lights in there. There's 11 rows, so 22 different light segments on each one of these little panels here, and that's just on these curved sections, right? Once we got some additional panels that we put in on the top and the bottom, so there's a ton of lights. You got to figure well over 100 of them, and I'm talking about just the strings, well over 100 strings of lights that go into making this tunnel. And you see what I mean now when I talk about the lights going into the tunnel, being kind of disoriented a little bit. And I think these really do match the the Star Fox and Falco type colors, so it works out incredibly well. And then all we had to do at one point was just let's start copying and pasting them over as we come near the end. And like I said, this thing turned out incredibly well for us, the way we got it taken care of. And so once again, I'm just measuring it up, making sure that there is zero collision with that at all. And it turned out perfectly. I couldn't imagine it being any better. I know we have some of those track supports kind of clipping through, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. I may end up covering those up as we go, but that's something that's going to be later on, definitely. So once I got that tunnel done, really needed to go ahead and let's start planning out, this section, the actual plaza section. Now, I didn't want to put an official restaurant or anything like that. It's going to be more of an open space. I am going to put in seats that allow for, picnic tables and covered benches, all that type of stuff. So people have plenty of spaces to sit and shading. And then we are going to put up the fences in the next episode that we stream live this weekend on Twitch that will end up making its way to YouTube afterwards. But we're going to put the next episode up, which will fence everything off. So that way you get a lot of really good viewpoints of the coaster as it swings by, especially right there after that brake run. That is one of the best points of view coming from that ride, sitting there. You could watch that, seeing that thing come down and around, gain the speed going into that corkscrew. I think works perfectly. Now, these were a couple of Star Fox things I found on the Steam Workshop. And in my normal pattern, I forgot to take note of who made them. I did not do that. Total disclaimer, not me. That was somebody else who had the capability to do that. I'm just fortunate to be able to take advantage of what they can do. But like I said, not me. Definitely not me that did that. I don't have that capability. So we do have this statue going in, and it's right by our little drink station, little food station. It's kind of like a pit stop, if you want to think about it, like a little fueling up station, you know what I mean? So that's what we were kind of going with there. Now here we're putting in some supports, and just because I had a feeling this thing would need to be supported some, so that's what we are doing in that section. And so this is kind of where we are at in this area at this time. And so here is our little drink station that we got. It's just stuck down right in the middle. It's not anything fancy, anything major. It's just a spot to stop off and get some drinks. So that way, once we put the benches and stuff around, they'll have a place to kind of sit down and relax, watch the ride. If you're anybody like my wife or something, you'll watch us go on the ride and be terribly stressed out as you see us on the ride. And as I say that, she is behind me as I do this voiceover, and I've got a feeling she's eyeballing me right now. And she is. But, one thing you may get in the next live stream, if we're lucky enough, is at the end of it, we'll have her watch the ride, a POV of the ride, in which she will be giving her live reaction to it. Now, she claims she's not. Now, anybody that's seen the live stream knows she may be a little anxious when it comes to roller coasters. So she does have pretty good, decent reaction. She saw the little short video we did of it on the channel. But she hasn't seen it with the newest update that we just put in. So keep that in mind and stay tuned for that. And like I said, the live stream, I don't know when it will be this weekend. I'll put out a post on the channel for when I am going to go live, just because I got Little League I coach, and so that's going to take up some time on Saturdays and kind of change that streaming schedule just a wee bit. So keep that in mind. But what we're going to do for the rest of this one is get this drink station finished up, and then kind of take a look at where we're at from here. And it's going to give us a pretty good perspective on how to get this place finished. We are going to start putting down essentially what amounts to a concrete base for this area, which I think it would be. I don't see too much. I don't think it'd have much of a natural base around of it, since this is kind of in the middle of the park in general. So it is going to be a concrete base, and so that's what we're going to kind of finish up with here in a minute as we get this what we're calling Falco fuel drink stand finished up here on the design. So stay tuned for that. It's got about another couple minutes, and I will see hopefully most of y'all in the live stream on Twitch at Champ & Sons, or in the next video once that live stream gets compressed and sent out. But I will see y'all in that one, everybody. So hang on for the ending here, and I will catch y'all in the next episode. So as always, stay safe, and well, y'all know how it goes from here, right? Later, y'all.